Hey guys, thank you for tuning in again. I said in the last video I was going to do a bit of a follow-up to show you. I want to show you some of the medications that I have to take. I'll show you all of the medications I have to take. The last video I sort of described a little bit about what's going on and sort of chemo that I've been doing, and there is a whole kind of box full of meds that you got to take while you're on chemo, and I'll go through them and show you exactly what they all are. And obviously it's chemo dependent, but other people I've seen have just a bag that just fills up just as big with all this shit that you got to take while you're on it. People that know me know that I'm sort of more of a natural, holistic type person, and I've explained in videos in the past when you're given a stage 4 sort of diagnosis and pretty short prognosis time to try and get it sorted out before it gets too serious, you're sort of stuck with a decision as, is there another way I can do this? Because you're obviously putting your body through a really big toxic process that, and what I'm finding is obviously there's a lot of people that die from causes other than cancer because of the cancer. So the cancer sort of starts this whole process where you go down this toxicity road and poison these cells out of your body, and then it seems more likely to kind of get taken away by another illness of some type. Like I mentioned in the last video, I had a collapsed lung. I went through all the tests to see if it had pneumonia, and that was sort of panic stations if that was the case, because it's pretty easy to kind of pass away from pneumonia and not recover from that, even at my age, when you don't have an immune system because you're going through all this stuff. So you sort of figure out pretty quickly, especially when you stay in the hospital ward, that so many people sort of just pass away from things like pneumonia and infections and all these type of things. This isn't actually the cancer that kills them in the first place. So there's a part of me, which I said to my mum the other day, that kind of regrets the decision I made to go down this road. But in saying that, the current state of the country we live in, and the holistic practitioners, I supposedly went and saw one of the best oncology naturopaths that in Australia. I had 5 or 6 people recommend to go see her, and even when I saw her, she used to have a PhD in hematology, so she knew a lot about lymphoma, and she said, there's not enough proven methods for us to kind of deal with disease fast enough at this stage to say we can do a natural route. So unfortunately, you just got to try and do this route and just support your body the best you can. Talking about supporting the body, I'm going to show you some of the shit I've got to take every day. Tablets. I've got one of those. I'll show you. I've got one of these little. Courtney bought me this as a present, which was cute, but made me feel like I'm 80 years old. Got my own little daily pill box. Yeah, so I'll tell you some of the shit I've got to take every day, and then I'll show you the things that I have proven that have really helped me through the process. Because you can go jump on the bandwagon and buying so many different types of herbs and supplements and all this sort of shit, but at the end of the day, you talk to a pharmacist, because you really have to liaise with your oncologist and your pharmacist while you're going through the treatment, because they know a lot about the drugs, and then they search these databases to know what type of natural therapies are actually going to affect the effectiveness of what you're actually dealing with. And I'll give you a little example. Like, let's just say, for example, you take a herb of some type that really protects your liver from toxicity. Then if you've got disease in your liver, which I slightly had, but not much, but just because it was close to the spleen, and you're preventing the chemotoxicity from actually getting into the liver and killing the cells that it needs to kill. So there's a very fine line between supporting your body and actually maybe hindering the process that you've decided to go through. So it's been very hard for me to kind of pick and choose things that I know are going to really help me, and then also things that might maybe are being smart about what might affect the treatment at the same time. But the biggest thing I found I needed to support was the liver. So I'll show you what I do for that, and we'll go through this crap we have here. Okay, so the very first one, like I said before, what gets a lot of people is viruses, infections, and pneumonia and things like that. Seems more likely like something's going to kill you through this process because you don't have an immune system. It's really hard to recover from it, and it's really easy to get an infection. So the very first thing I have to take is this right here. So that is a broad spectrum antibiotic I have to take every day to help me in the prevention of picking up a viral infection of some type. Then we have this one here. I have to take 2 of these twice a week. That's another broad spectrum antibiotic that prevents things like pneumonia, for example. That's for my lungs and my respiratory system. Then we have this one here, which is I take that when you get sort of real bad reflux, which happens with the chemo. And what's this one here? This one is also, it does a similar thing, but it's a lot stronger, and it's more like an antibiotic version of that. It's for helping with your sort of your bile production, your acid production, because like I said, this new chemo one gives me real bad gut toxicity, so I get real sick in the stomach and diarrhea, and then constipation and bad cramps and things like that. Just makes you feel really, really ordinary. Then I've got to take this one daily, so that is another antibiotic for fungal infections. Then we have, these are steroids. So I have 2 different types of these. Like I said, when I'm having that issue with the fluid building up around my spleen, they sort of give me one of these a day, because that kind of really helps fast, kind of anti-inflammatory. The problem with steroids, you'd know if you've had them before or you're on them for some type of treatment, is that is one of the worst things in the whole situation is the steroids. Yeah, they make you feel really good at times, but I get real moody, I turn into an asshole, you can't sleep whatsoever. You got to take them in the morning, and even when you take them in the morning, then give me sleeping tablets, and I gotta have sleeping tablets with them. I don't really use these unless it's right after the chemo, because chemo gives you a really high dose of steroids, which isn't like, I have 2 types. I've got this one and another one which I don't have because they're empty, and I have them on the other one with the chemo, and that, you know, when I have those real high doses, I got to take the sleeping tablets. But I take another particular sort of hemp derived oil that helps me sleep a lot better than what they do. But sometimes you need both. That's how bad the steroids are. The steroids, like, they make me shake. They give me like really hot flushes, hot and cold flushes. You gain heaps of weight. Like when I was on the high dose of steroids, you notice you get like this, it's reflux. Okay, just take one of these. When you're on steroids, you're real high, like fluid build up, sort of, you get it around your face, you get a real fat face, and you get it around your belly. It's since, because I've come off a high dose, it's sort of gone down again, and I've been like getting up and walking every day as well, try and keep active. And we got these ones, you're probably there, like wafers for nausea. And then we have these ones here as well for nausea. And then we have these oxy tablets, because that is what you need when you have a collapsed lung and it really friggin' hurts. And I've got these ones which are like gout tablets, so when I go on a real high dose of steroids, then I've got to take these to stop uric acid building up and potentially getting like a kidney stone or something like that. So that's it. That's the crew right there, all that stuff. And what I take personally, which I've got a whole bunch of different supplements in there, and I've got other ones I do take, but only on specific days, but I'm not real sure on those just yet, because they sort of upset my stomach a little bit, so I'm not going to do any type of review on them at the moment. One of the first things is, this is a milk thistle tincture. So It's in like a glycerol sort of extract, like a vegetable glycerol sort of extract. You take like 5 mils of that a day, and that really helps with the liver support and liver function. But like I said, I back off on this milk thistle around the treatment time, because I don't want it to affect how the chemicals are being processed through my liver, because obviously there's disease there in your liver and spleen in that area. So I just want to make sure that I'm not like creating a type of environment where the milk thistle is, because it's a really effective product and it will sort of prevent the toxicity within your liver and your spleen. So back off on that when I know the half-life of the chemicals are in my body. So sort of towards day 6 and 7 after treatment, then I'll sort of start getting back on that bandwagon. Then the other thing is this, which is a it's nanocell, that's what they call it. It's a D3, it's a vitamin D3 spray. So you basically, I do 2 sprays of this on the inside of my mouth, and that vitamin D3 is a really good nutrient to help protect your liver. I do that every day, so I think 2 sprays of that is like 1,000 international units. Sometimes I've done 4 a couple of days after treatment to sort of get a little bit extra D3 into me. And another really good thing to go along with D3 as well to support your liver is juices. Like if you do like a beetroot, apple, ginger, carrot type of juice, like a fresh pressed juice with organic produce, that really sort of helps your kind of protection of your liver as well, especially the beetroot. I find whenever I'm really getting on the juice bandwagon, which I don't do all the time, I'll be completely honest, because trust me, when you feel like shit after your treatment, there's not a lot you can do, and sometimes it's even hard just to get up and use a juicer. So I do that when I can. Another amazing discovery I found, which I've had this from the get-go, but I sort of went on and off taking it just because of how I felt and trying to get all these different types of supplements into me. But this is a L-theanine powder, which is basically just like a green tea extract. So I have like half a teaspoon of that, and that, for if you're like got sort of a high heart rate, you're a bit highly strung, a bit anxious, which happens when you have cancer, regardless of how much you meditate and how much hypnosis you do, there is always an element of just feeling crappy. And when you feel crappy, your sort of anxiety levels go up a bit. And I found just half a teaspoon of that, a little bit of water, just calms you down, like really keeps you calm. And green tea, anything green tea related and green tea extract is really, really good, regardless of what treatment you're going through. I drink as many cups of green tea as I can a day, and then also when I need sort of a really calming type of thing, I put that in a little bit of water as well. Anyway, I'll stop rambling on. If you've got any questions, chuck them in the comments and I'll try and get to them, and then we'll try and keep you guys updated on the next round of chemo, which I get a PET scan in about 4 days to see how the first round went. So they're going to do a PET scan after every round. I'm only doing 2 rounds, hopefully, and then a stem cell transplant, and then around that time is when the baby's coming. So we will keep you updated, and as always, guys, like and subscribe if you want to, if you want to sort of follow me and see what this crap's like to go through. And obviously there's exciting stuff coming up as well, which is like the treatment working, that's exciting, and then having a baby, that's another exciting thing, and then planning my life beyond this shit, that's another exciting prospect as well. So I'll chuck a GoFundMe link in the video. As always, like I said, I'm unable to work. Courtney's going on maternity leave, and we're basically not going to have an income other than what we can maybe get out of the government, and we have to see what that is yet. So any support helps. Obviously not expected, but even just a positive comment, which I get lots of. Absolutely love it, and thank you very much. See you guys. Oh, I almost forgot. I'm going to have to slip this in somewhere when I was talking about the liver and the nutrients I take for the liver, like the D3 and the juices and the milk thistle, all that sort of stuff. I found that my fatigue levels drastically improved once I started taking the D3 and the milk thistle for my liver and doing the the juices help as well, but the D3 and the milk thistle, and I'm on that daily, my fatigue levels, like, obviously fatigue is a really big part of the chemo because of what's going on with your body and all the cells are dying and you're dealing with this massive amount of toxicity. But I sort of could tell between, I'm on these lymphoma forums that are on Facebook and stuff like that, where people sort of go through and talk about their treatments and support each other, and I'm finding the people that aren't doing anything to support their liver are having real bad issues with fatigue. And I've sort of been going on there and dropping in comments going, look, this bit of D3 and milk thistle has, like, I've gone from, before I did the D3 and the milk thistle, to sitting on the couch most of the day on my bad days, not been really able to do much, and even on the good days not even have the energy to do much. I've gone from that to getting up 6:30 every morning, and I walk for as long as I can. Some days I've walked up to 7-8 kilometers at a pretty brisk pace. Some days I can only do like half a lap of the park, which is like 400 meters, but at least I'm getting out and trying to keep active. But the thing that really improved that process for me was making sure I was supporting my liver, because I just sort of thought that's where the fatigue's coming from. My liver's having to process so much, like all the toxins, and then once all your cells die, they get passed back through your liver again, and it's got to deal with all that sort of oxidative stress and the dead cells. So as soon as I started supporting the liver, fatigue levels drastically improved. So I just wanted to chuck that in there as well. So if it's something, even if you're not going through this treatment, so making sure your liver's, because a lot of people suffer from fatty liver disease, and obviously a lot of toxic stuff we take in all the time. Your body's dealing with all that sort of shit. Even when you have inflammation, it's dealing with oxidative stress and all the cells that are dying off, which is a natural process in your body. But the liver support is just, I can't recommend it enough. So jump on that bandwagon.